What's up, guys? So we got the Ronnie Coleman workout, chest workout. And the reason is because if you look up the most impressive chest or physique for a chest or anything when it comes to bodybuilding, Ronnie Coleman will come up as the most impressive whenever you look it up on the internet or ChatGPT or anything like that. So if you're gonna want the best chest you can accomplish, why wouldn't you do the same thing that the best of the best would do? All right, so without further ado, we'll go ahead and get started. So this is Ronnie Coleman Prime chest workout. So prime as in this is his this is his prime. And that's really important because a lot of these guys that have the amazing physiques and everything, they train completely different in the beginning, in their prime, and what they do now. Especially well, I mean, you see Ronnie Coleman now. I mean, unfortunately, he's disabled, like kind of handicapped because of his spine problems and surgeries and all that. But anyway, let's go ahead and get started. This is a detailed breakdown, and I'm just here to kind of help explain it. And I've been doing these chest workouts, and I definitely feel a big difference with my chest workouts, especially when you feel like you're not getting anywhere. You go ahead and try these workouts, it's going to push you so freaking hard, and you'll definitely getting out of those plateaus and everything. So this is what he did in 1998 to 2003. This is when he was winning the Olympias. This is when he was his biggest and strongest. The '03 and like around '03 was he just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger and stronger and stronger. But 1998, 2003, prime. All right. So the general training principle Ronnie used heavy compound lifts. So that's bench press, incline bench press, dumbbell flat, dumbbell incline. Sometimes he did like a chest press machine. He almost always did flies with dumbbells or machines. I think he sometimes did cable. Let's see. And he did a lot of dips, weighted dips, and dip machines. But we're going to go over a lot of what he did. But yeah, he did ultra heavy, so super heavy, low to moderate reps, so 6 to 12. 12 reps. Some people might think that's a lot. Some people might think it's normal. Some people might think that's barely any. But yeah, and he always controlled negative. So he didn't just bounce the weight off his chest like a lot of people do. And whenever he went down, he went up about the same speed, probably a little bit slower on the way down. Explosive concentric. So whenever he pushed fast on the lift, okay. So like I said, he goes a lot faster up and slower down. And the reason why I don't say it's explosive is because whenever you're pushing really, really heavy weights, it's not going to feel explosive because you're not going to be moving super fast with a bunch of weight. And if you are, it's not a bunch of weight to you. So if you're going super fast with a weight that you're doing 12 reps, it's not going to be that fast. It'll be fast, but not crazy. You're not going to be throwing it up in the air. All right, so explosive, concentric. So you push it fast up, high volume, 18 to 22 sets total. So that is flat bench, 3 to 4 sets, incline bench, 3 to 4 sets. He always did about 3 or 4 sets. Don't really count the 1 or 2 warm up sets though. I mean, those are working sets. Um, all right, well, we'll go ahead and get started. Minimal rest, 1 to 2 minutes. That's really important because some people get stuck on their phone. Don't do that. You need to sit on the bench, maybe change your music, and get set up for your next set. But really catch your breath, drink some pre workout, some water, get your heart rate a little bit lower. Just chill for a bit, just get prepared. Mindset is a big thing. No machines early in the workout. Always started with heavy compound lifts. We just went over that earlier. So, warm up. Ronnie didn't waste time with long warm ups. He used 2 to 3 warm up sets for each first exercise. Like I said earlier, 2 to 3 warm up sets. That's going to be a weight that you can do like 50 to 60 reps with for your first set. You don't do that many reps, but that's what you would do. Like a 135, I could do it for 60, but I'll just warm up with like 10 to 15 reps just to warm up. And then you just gradually get heavier and heavier. So maybe like a 30 to 40% increase in weight each set. All right. So very lightweight, moderate, and then almost working set. So exactly like that. Reps 15, 12, 8. That's not necessarily correct because he would warm up with more reps than 8 to 12 sometimes. Sometimes it was consistently 10 to 12 or more. So feel free to warm up. I don't think warming up with 8 reps is the best. If your working sets are going to be more than 8 reps, I'm pretty sure that's not what he did, but maybe it is. And looking in the videos, um, he usually did only about 2 warm up sets. All right, and then flat bench press. That was his first workout. 4 sets, 4 working sets. So he did about 2 or 3 warm ups, and then he got into workouts. He usually did a little bit more reps than this. So you're looking at normally about 12, 12, 10, 8. Sometimes he did less. He didn't consistently do the same amount of reps every single time he went to the gym. And sometimes he didn't start with flat bench. Sometimes he started with flat dumbbell or another flat chest press. But most of the time it was flat bench press about, I don't know, 2/3 of the time. And then 1/3, it was mainly dumbbell. And then he would sometimes dabble in other things. I'm not gonna get too much into this because, I mean, feet planted for maximum stability. That's what everyone should know. He arches lower back. Everyone should know that. Fast press, but controlled on the down. We already went over that. Wide grip, 1 to 2 inches outside the rinks. Me personally, I think anywhere between pinky finger to index finger on that line is good. He did the outside rings, so that would be like me doing my index finger on the inside line. I usually do my middle finger or ring finger. No, I do my yeah, my middle finger on the index or middle finger on the inside line is what I normally do. It's just it's up to you. I mean, it depends on how wide your shoulders are and how it feels. I definitely wouldn't be doing anything closer to that. You should definitely be touching the rings with one of your fingers, whether it's the inside or the outside rings. All right, so typically he'd go to 400 to 500 reps with his heavy sets. Incline, same sets, same reps, same technique. Elbows were a little bit more flared than flat, and he always touched his chest. I see a lot of people benching, they don't touch their chest with the bar. That's fine, but it's just not what he did. So I would try to touch your chest and don't bounce off your chest. Slow, fast, easy as that. That's what he did. You do this, and you probably see more results because, like I said, we're doing this because he had the best chest that's ever existed. If you look it up, I mean, everyone has their own opinion, but when you look at actual searches, AI questions, that's who comes up 9 times out of 10. All right. And then he did heavyweight. He did 315 to 405. So if you're, let's say, your heavy working sets on flat or 225 to 220, 275, you're going to be doing probably 185 around that, 165 to 185. Um, if you're benching, um, 315 or more, you could probably dabble in 225 to 275 is going to be on the heavier end. Got to be extra careful with doing incline. 6 reps is like, you can do it as long as you have um, good technique. And if you're just very careful, if you're dehydrated, if you're really tight, something doesn't feel right, I'd be very careful doing 6 or 8 reps with heavy weight because incline, you can tear your chest. Same with flat, but incline I've seen more because you're just at more of a stretch. So just be extra careful. Definitely wouldn't do anything less than 6 reps unless you're just ready for that risk. But that's not what he did. If you're doing that, it's gonna be better for power building, or I guess power building, but powerlifting specifically. So then there's flat dumbbell press, 3 to 4 sets. He went pretty heavy, 150 to 200 pound dumbbells. Um, I mean, if you're used to, if you can bench like the 100 pound dumbbells for a few reps, you'd be sticking to really the 80 to 85 pound dumbbells because you're wanting to do 10 to 12 reps. You didn't do, the 8 and 6. Sometimes he probably did, like with the 200 pound dumbbells, but not normally. You know, just got to be careful. Yeah, similar to, bench press, arch back, this and that. All right, and he said neutral to semi-supinated angle hand. So what that means is how you're holding the dumbbells, whether it's straight or if it's parallel. So if you're holding the dumbbells like this. So he did neutral to semi, so that would be like angled to neutral would be like a barbell. So he would be like angled, and that's what I do. That's what I've done before I started doing it like his, and I'll keep doing it that way. Um, Keep dumbbells slightly inside shoulder line. So whenever he did it, you're looking at touching the dumbbells to like your shoulder slash chest. Just be extra careful and kind of really feel where you're putting it at. And you'll feel a difference where, because if you're putting it super wide, you're going to feel a lot more in your chest and your shoulder. But if you bring it in a little bit more, you might feel a little bit more on all the chest instead of the wider parts. Anyway, we'll go to the next one, incline dumbbell flies. So, I mean, that was probably mainly 9 times out of 10 dumbbells. Sometimes he probably messed with machines or cables, stuff like that. So he did a deep stress dumbbells, um, and he did a wide controlled micro bend and elbows, never straight. So he kept his elbows bent a little bit. So he was like bear hugging the dumbbells, and he would go super wide and super back, so super far back, because that's the deep stretch. So he would really do that. So definitely recommend that. Be extra careful with this. Dumbbell flies is even more dangerous than bench, in my opinion. If you, especially if you're going deep, because the more stretch, the more chance of tearing something if you're going heavy. I have a personal friend of mine that did that, the same thing. And yeah, you just gotta be extra careful. Go slow. No, super fast, super heavy, all that stuff. The more comfortable you get, the better your technique is, and the better that is, the more risk you can take because it's less of a risk when it comes to injury. All right, so hammer strength machine, so it's like a chest press that's plate loaded. You can do other chest press machines, it's whatever you prefer. But he liked doing a lot of plate loaded stuff the old fashioned. Hammer strength is the type of brand, so it's normally like plate loaded. So 3 to 4 sets, 10 to 12 reps. Just similar stuff as the other thing. Cable crossovers, that's cable flies. So he would do those sometimes as a finisher. But it's for definition, isolation, and blood volume, the pump. Yeah. So the pump and just really getting the looks, I guess. I mean, that's like prime bodybuilding workout for the end. You really get that last bit out. And then he only did about 3 sets. And then optional Ronnie finisher if he wasn't dead yet. It's just extra workouts that he would do at the end. Push ups till failure. Just like sometimes he would do dips till failure. But yeah, I mean that sums up a lot of this. You can go into more detail with this if you just ask ChatGPT or any other type of AI or just look it up. I highly suggest that whenever you go to the gym, look up, what this guy did in his prime. Don't do it for all of his body parts unless you want to, but I would recommend not doing it for his legs, and solely because Tom Platz had the best legs. He had very close, maybe runner up. Some people would say his is better, but if you look it up, the most impressive legs was always Tom Platz, according to the internet and AI. So, just little information. I do this, about every chest workout, mix it up here and there. But you're gonna, 3 out of 4 times you're gonna be doing exactly this, and depending on how you feel. So, like if you're super tired, you might do 1 or 2 sets less, or maybe you'll knock out the chest press machine. You're already doing chest press with barbell and incline. So, it's all preference, but the more similar you get to this, the better. And that's it for the Ronnie Coleman workout. Let me know what you guys think. If there's anything that you want me to touch on, I'm going to be going into my supplement routine, my dieting, my opinions on the best meats to eat, um, just a few different things on dieting and supplement use. So, yeah.